Hello, everyone, and welcome to It's Your Voice. I am your host, Anita DeFrancesco, and this week's topic is Build Your Relational Spectrum. We're going to be talking about the healthy and the unhealthy versus the abusive relationship. This podcast is brought to you every week. It's a variety of topics: mindfulness, sexuality, and relationships. It's Your Voice topic title actually came out of the DonnaGentileStory.com. It's a true crime book I wrote about a woman who was silenced, and this podcast is dedicated to all the voiceless women of the world. May your voice be heard. And I am the voice for Donna Gentile, and it is a book you can find on Amazon, or you can reach out to me here. But this week's topic is Build Your Relational Spectrum. So what is that all about? So here we have it. You have the healthy versus the abusive relationship, and then there's the unhealthy somewhere in the middle. So where do you fall? If you have a healthy relationship, you have communication, you have respect, you have trust, you have honesty, equality, giving and receiving, balancing, enjoying personal time away without being jealous, without criticizing, making mutual choices. So coming together and having that harmony, that congruency. Now, if you have an abusive relationship, it involves violent communication where there's a lot of condescending and belittling and negativity and non-support. You also have mistreating each other. So where you're not really respecting your partner, appreciating them, complimenting them, you're talking down to them, accusing them of different things such as cheating or lying to you, whatever it is. It's unhealthy. It's abusive, actually, if there's a lot of accusations going on within the relationship. Denying the actions, abusive, controlling. So if there's a lot of control, it's abusive. And isolating your partner from others. I find that sometimes in an abusive relationship, the partner will isolate them from their family members or their friends, because that might be because they're insecure and they feel if they became more connected to their family and friends that they may lose them. And this is where it's abusive, because the person that is abusing you needs to get some help. Now, in the middle somewhere is an unhealthy relationship, which is good and bad, because there's a little bit of healthiness and a little bit of abusiveness, but it can be worked out, and these relationships that are unhealthy can be saved if both partners agree to get help. So that's the key to finding where you fall on the spectrum within your relationship. Now, keeping in mind that love is respect. Love is respect, and it is trust. So if you understand that love is respect and trust, then you can understand where you fall within the spectrum. Now, here's a quote by Esther Perel. In relationships, trust isn't a promise to never hurt each other. It's the risk that we will hurt each other, and the confidence that if we do, we will come together to heal. And that's Esther Perel. You can find her all over the internet. So she says that, what I believe about trust is there is no such thing as trust. You can't expect to be in a marriage or a relationship. Yes, you build and work toward trust, but the human condition, I believe, is not designed. And there will be times to come back and forgive each other and heal and forgive and heal. And that's part of what love is about. And I feel that the human condition isn't disciplined enough in the higher power to really stay on the grid, to walk the straight line of trust, honesty. I mean, we can do so much and work toward bettering ourselves and coming to some happy medium. So let's get into patterns of neglect and abandonment. Well, before we get into that, when you're in a relationship and you have emotional triggers, you're deeply, intimately involved, you're having great sex, great lovemaking, whatever it may be, what normally can happen is primitive emotions will emerge. And the trauma and the defenses, while this can be an opening to heal. So if there's trauma and defenses that come up while you're in a very intimate relationship, it is an opportunity to heal. But people find it confusing, and they start to hate each other and pick on each other. And they want to leave each other. And they feel like, I'm afraid of the commitment, or They run from the fear of their own primitive emotions surfacing. And when they surface, it is an opportunity to heal. So this is when you should seek out help, seek out therapy. Love and relationship coach, that's what I do. I'm a psychotherapist. Tantra wisdom is my work. Both need to clear before entering a serious relationship. So it is best to work on yourself if you are healthy. If you are unhealthy emotionally and you want to seek out a significant other or a mate or a companion or a long-term partner, you need to really work on the emotions, because the old primitive emotions will surface. And they surface because there's patterns of neglect and abandonment that you may have experienced maybe even once in your life as a child or growing up as a teenager. But a lot of times it's a repeated pattern that people experience neglect and abandonment. And then they get into that same headset where the fear controls them. Now, people talk about people controlling you. It's not people that control you. It's the fear that control people that want to control you, but it's the fear that controls you. So no human can control you. It's the fear that is controlling you or controlling them. Let's get into power and control. Speaking of control, no one controls the dynamics of a relationship. Where there's undermining and belittling, or he or she wants sex when they want it, or he or she wants to go here when they want to, that is not a healthy relationship. That could be unhealthy, leading to abusiveness. There are responsibilities when holding emotional space for each other. So if you're holding emotional space for your partner and opening their heart up to you and you're sharing, you need to communicate, and hopefully that there is an honesty here and there's not some taking advantage or taking for granted that's going on. When you're holding this emotional space, you're taking care of each other's needs. And that's beautiful. Respect and recognition, complimenting your partner, appreciating, acknowledging, thanking, respecting. These are the keys to recognizing their whatever they've done out in the world. Maybe they're rescuing dogs, or maybe they're, doing a podcast like I am or something. And it may not be the greatest thing in the world, but whatever they're doing, support them. And if you want to help them to become better, don't criticize them. Just softly talk to them and give them some advice as to, hey, you could do this better or you can do that better, but without pointing the finger and saying, oh, it's terrible. So negativity never wins, and it draws people away from you, and this is the cause of isolation. Care and closeness. Again, supporting him or her when anxious. Say they've had a death in the family, or they're feeling very anxious about a new career they're starting, or they have to do some travels, or the children, or whatever. And you're not there to support that anxiousness. Sometimes people fear other people's emotions opening and they run from it. And so you need to discuss that and ask your partner. And this is where we come with Tantra wisdom. Asking your partner what you need. I need support when I'm going on a tour to promote my project or whatever it is. People need that support. But sometimes it doesn't mean the partner doesn't want to support you. They just don't know how. And they don't know what you want. So you must communicate that and ask for what you want. Having that balance of giving and receiving. Also, sexuality in a relationship, human sexuality. Why isn't there any sex? You need to come together with that and find those moments of intimacy. You don't really get the intimacy totally from the actual sport of sex, but having the intimacy during hugging, holding, touching is just as productive. And in fact, it could be better. Now, restructuring the cognition is where you need to go when we want to work on ourselves and dismantling the entrenched dynamics that exist within the human psyche. All of this, new patterns of mutual self-awareness, affirmation of others, all of this shapes the process. So all of this will help you to get on the track of coming to that sacred space, that divinity together, of learning how to have and hold and shape the relationship. Trust, the big thing, like I said, there is no such thing as trust. We work toward trusting and adapting and adjusting to each other's lifestyles and what we request from each other and what we expect from each other. But there is no such thing because the human condition is not designed. We're not that disciplined to say, okay, I'll never lie to you. I'll be with you 20 years of my life and I will never lie. People lie, and it's just normal in that sense because we're not perfect. And again, in every relationship, you will get hurt. But where love is, expect to forgive each other, okay? Expect to forgive each other over and over again, over and over. You're listening to It's Your Voice. I'm Anita DeFrancesco. We're talking about build the relational spectrum. Now, real relationships that last involve a lot of forgiveness, accepting that he or she isn't perfect and will hurt you, whatever it may be. A white lie, whatever it is, be ready for that. Now, again, we have boundaries, but you don't want to, the moment you get hurt, you're running away from each other. Look at what you've built up, this healthy, loving relationship. So expect that. It's part of it. Exercising the emotions. Healthy relationships are based on equality and respect, not power and control. So if there's a lot of power and control, this is what you need to look at, or you need to feel that and see if it's there. Equality. In Tantra wisdom, we teach you how to balance out giving and receiving. It's a wonderful, wonderful exercise to teach people how to do that. And people really adjust to it. It's amazing. Taking responsibility for your own happiness. Now, you don't get in a relationship, so that's going to complete your happiness. The happiness comes from within. So that is something that you take responsibility. So no one else can make you happy. People can bring our spirits up and be great companions and share laughter and fun together. But the happiness is a choice, and it is something that no one else can complete. Admitting and owning up to your mistakes. Yes, that's one that a lot of people tend to run from. Again, that goes back to the trust thing or about the honesty thing. Being realistic, agreeing, disagreeing, pushing together through the tough times. When there's tough times, you need to work together and push through it. Listening and hearing your partner with your whole body. People listen, but they don't hear. It goes in one ear and out the other. So think about that for this week. And affection, compassion, loyalty, how the reverence and the open communication. Open communication is something that really needs to be worked out in relationships because that is something that is still not quite on board yet in relationships, the open communication. But having loyalty for your partner, respecting them, treating them like having that high respect and reverence, supporting, acknowledging, encouraging, appreciating. Boundaries, there's always healthy boundaries. Now, another thing, expressing your emotions and sharing your thoughts and feelings. A lot of time people hold on to those. They don't want to express their emotions. They're afraid of being attacked or criticized or rejected. But just expressing the feelings to your partner, and together you can heal. This is the goal, together healing, together healing. Creating the foundation of respect happens in the very beginning of the relationship. That is something you need to harness in the beginning. Because if you let someone walk on you, they will walk on you. Giving each other space, giving each other the space you need. Hey, I'm going with the girls for a week. You're gone hunting with the guys for a week. You know, you need to have a little time away, far away from each other. So that song you've heard, right? Give each other space. And when you have the quality time together, harnessing this, honoring it, being in the moment and present for each other, because this is the gift of life, love. Expect and embrace changes. And one last thing I'll leave you with is expect your partner's privacy. Now, I don't mean privacy where they're holding things from you or they don't want to tell you something, but privacy, stop snooping through their drawers or whatever, even though you are married and you're in the same household, say, or not. Everyone needs time for their own privacy. And that is a respect thing, as long as it is not something that affects you or they're keeping from you that could hurt you later. But privacy is is also important. So I want to thank you for tuning into It's Your Voice. I've been your host, Anita DeFrancesco. And this week, let's see how much quality time we can give each other and honor the space, honor the moments. Thank you for tuning in.